Good evening, this is Beaty-Coffey of the Ministry of Uncovered No More. I'm going to read a poem. And what you see before you is one of my colored pencil things, roll-ups. We have a second one that has a whole bunch of gel pens in it with some really nice Faber-Castells. And that set, excuse me, goes more with my Soul of the Woodlands and a Mandela coloring book that is pure pain. It's not this one. This one is not, and I'm being told in the spirit to get back to it every day because I need it right now. I can't color in the other one. Yet. But I have several different sets of pencils that will be there for it when I get there. I'm trying to be patient. I'm trying to forgive. But I wouldn't be completely honest if I didn't tell you that it's really tiresome to have to be keeping on forgiving things because stuff never changes. And so I'm figuring some things out about how to help myself through this election cycle in November. And it's almost July. So I'm going to go on a fast of television, watching and read a lot because that's what I need. And so you'll probably see me read poetry and put it on blogs. I was given a book today by someone who is in a very difficult situation. It's called The Literary England Photographs by David E. Sherman and descriptive text by Richard Wilcox. And they included pieces of poetry, and my beloved Robert Browning was mentioned in the introduction because I have a whole website for Elizabeth Barrett and Robert Browning, the Barrett Brownings, and I have 3 books of theirs, have made it through the Sonnets of the Portuguese. I just loved it. Right now in big poetry is Robert Frost's Song of Hiawatha. So I'm reading a little bit of it. In fact, I need to bring it over here because that's what I was going to say. Some books I can't finish fast because I'm having to learn how to be not Protestant. And there's a whole bunch of people, young and old, that are going through this process. And so I share my process to help normal people like me say, okay, I get it. I can see why she's doing that. Now, what do I need to do? Because it won't be the same thing, and it might be the same thing. I know journaling is helpful in your own hand. But I am committing right now to finishing books because I finished Rudolf Steiner's Philosophy of Freedom, and I have been reading it since 2021, and I held on. I've had too much negativity around me, so I would like to finish the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien and even do some artwork. So we'll see. But right now, I need to color, and obviously, I'm telling you, I have a large mandala I can't finish. It's too painful. It's too deep of hell because of what happened to my children. And I had to leave a final message with my oldest son today, and it feels like I'm viewing in slow motion again my brother the first time he dropped dead in the street, according to the book of Revelation. And I saw it, and I watched him break his tooth and his pee all over himself, and my dad scoop him up. It feels like that's happening to my son, named after him. And yet again, after so many other times that I couldn't stop what was happening, I'm faced with not being able to stop what's happening. And I cannot imagine Ukrainian women tonight. I cannot imagine Israeli, Palestinian women tonight, Lebanese women tonight, because those are centers of war and nobody will stop, you see. And we must keep going for the living, not for the ones being killed in wars we can't stop, is what I know. And so someone gave me this book, and so I'm going to finish it this week, and I'm learning to set aside what I'm going to finish and not take on too much more. This is not about oracle cards, because that's an ongoing thing with diaries and books that goes on my blogs and stuff. It's a different process. This is something where I'm not going to pick up other books. I'm going to push them out of my mind and my artwork. And this needs to come back in. And I didn't know why. I could hear that this evening, so I obviously took it out. I mean, I'm going to put it back in its cover, but I'm going to start coloring again. And I also have a book that is going to be delivering messages from the mandala that are already colored. So I've got a lot of beautiful work to do with this one. So I can easily craft those pages like 2 a week. So I'll show you that book. I have the ability for 3 coloring books in this book. But what I will do is just have, see, this is volume 1. And the subtitle is Marvelous Mandela Messages, which is coming from this. That's the top one. Magnificent Megamundan, which is pinned on my uncoverednomore.blog. And Magnified Wonderful Woodland Surprises, which is, I told you that there's another roll like this one that is for that book, and and other things, like I color mini mandala and stuff for my children. And I can show you, I have one other case. So this is the book, and I labeled it volume 1, and I knew some time ago that I was going to need to switch over and start with this mandala book. But the problem is I didn't know about the pain I just told you. Many of us are facing deep pain, and I want to encourage you to, I see it on TikTok. There's this older lady who I see her on TikTok, and she's doing the same thing. share with others, even though we're isolated. This is the worst year of America's history. It really is, because it's an election year and the whole Republican Party is criminals, and we know it. We know it. I am working on a second newspaper article, and the other thing that I'm giving my permission to do is admit that I'm doing these things, but not necessarily produce art. And I've been through a really long process about how to do my blogs. So I was given a gift today, but I was also given a recommendation, and the gentleman, my friend in this place, that is now my Sunday church officially, and I am a witness. He brought, and he was even willing to let, he's like me, he treasures his books, and the ones that he actually reads. Maybe I'm more like him because he's older. So, I'm not of this generation, y'all. I really am not. And it's cost me way too much time to say that. The problem is a woman like me, probably a lot of us are dealing with feeling like that our whole life is a waste because of how bad it is now. In religious situations, in family situations, in school situations, in this situation, in that situation. So I don't know, have no answers tonight except for to read poetry, see? And that's where I'm having to come to grips with what's not good for me, obviously, and remain secluded to a degree to be on the journey I need to be on, because I openly admitted going into this year that this was going to be one of the hardest years of my life politically. Because I love my 10 children, and I do not want them to be dealing with this right now. My adult children, I don't want them to be dealing with this right now, and I'm powerless. But they're dealing with this, and so am I. So I'm learning to set aside books that I'm going to finish, and one of those books is Tiger Joy by Stephen Vincent Benet. It's a small book, probably was from a school. See how old it is. And so I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to read you a poem from it. Okay, I was inaccurate. Robert Frost is not who wrote Song of Hiawatha. That's Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And so I need to bring him over here. And I don't think actually that Henry Wadsworth, the Song of Hiawatha is going to be one I'm not going to deal with. I may do some notes in the margins and stuff, but it's just a beautiful poem. And as a matter of fact, I already wrote a small poem because of how he explains winds and a dandelion and whatnot. And mine is Ode to Crepe Myrtle, because I love them, and I'm hoping we get a couple in our backyard. So I have a treat for myself, another poetry treat, arriving July 8th through 11th. It's called The Fact of a Door Frame by Adrienne Rich, who may still be alive. She, I was privileged with my friend bringing his book, and I mean, pages were falling out. It was an older one. And And he'd had it for a while, I guess. And so I just bought it right there because I found it for a good price. And it's hardback, which Tiger Joy is also hardback. So I'll be able to do artwork and stuff. And I gave up on some things. I'm teaching myself to stop doing artwork with some books. For instance, Literary England. It's photographs by David E. Sherman and descriptive text by Richard Wilcox. It's an old hardback that I will treasure. I wrote a note in it. I drew a rune, wrote a note. Somebody paid $1 for it. But it was given to me because this person knows how much I love. My friend knows how much I love poetry. And is allowing me the privilege of one a week for 4 weeks. We're reading The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. And so I have committed to myself. She has seen this book. I have this magnetic, see that? With red flowers for Rudolf Steiner, whose Philosophy of Freedom I just finished, and there's going to be room for his second book that's sitting there. But I've got to take a break, and I'm committing not to take 3 or 4 years to read it. I'm okay now, as it were, and understood some things, and I can move on. But I'm also solving my Protestant church mix up because they have prayer. So I have been given very firm signs not to go on Sunday anymore. I can't handle it. There's too much of a mixture of Republicans that just tear everything down in the Protestant church buildings. So I can pray with them. But that's all I can do. That's all I can do. And when I go in, not on Sunday morning, I'm not an atheist. If I go in on Sunday mornings, I'm an atheist. The only way I'm not an atheist is if my brother is with me. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So, well, there's another man. I'm not gonna, I don't think he, I don't think he would ever want to step in a church, but I might be wrong. I honestly can't imagine being him today. All of these people using his name back there, and anyway, I was going to put a philosopher in this beautiful book, but I was given by a friend the privilege of reading 2 poems from today, 2 poems from The Fact of a Door Frame by Adrienne Rich. So I'm going to redo some things from The Wasteland and 4 quartets by T.S. Eliot because those are my Bible to a degree, along with a couple of 3 other books. And Rudolf Steiner's in my Bible, my real Bible, people that I can really pay attention to in the modern day. Ralph H. Blame, and I'm finding out that he and his wife have both written books. I could read their books and trust them. Paganism by Joyce Van Rither. Higginbotham, I took it off my websites because I'm not going to do a whole bunch of work, but I am going to pick out the messages that spoke to me as I was being rejected by so many people. I've been rejected by more people than I've been accepted by, but that is in the Bible, so I don't feel anything other than, well, that happened. So the pretty green one is going to be first my beloved T.S. Eliot, and then Adrienne Rich's The Fact of a Door Frame. Having the same epiphany with this poetry as I'm having with Stephen Vincent Benet's Western Star and Tiger Joy. Tiger Joy is going to be finished and completed, and then I'm gonna jump with both feet into Stephen Vincent Benet's Western Star, and that is Mr. Benet and Mr. Eliot, T.S. Eliot. No, Mr. Benet and Mr. Steiner are probably the two reasons, the two men in their whole lives, why I'm saying I'm going to have to just fast. I'm realizing today I have to fast television. I just will be healthier in outlook and in fellowship with my family this year if I do this. And I'm really enjoying reading the newspaper, even if it's, just buy it once a week during the week and read 2 articles. That's better information. I've heard that for years, and I've known it for years. So I'm not going to be disconnected, and I do still use my social media. So I stay informed. I do occasionally publish from there. I want to publicly ask forgiveness of the God Pod Show. I'm going to have to pass that up for a little while as well. I love y'all's show. I love all of you. And yet I'm having to say I've got to focus on reading poetry this year to get past my Protestantism still eating up my life with negativity, because I have people in my life that are struggling with their religion loss, and they've said things that for years that I can't shake loose from. That hard messaging is on uncoverednonor.blog, and I've already cried in this video because of it. I'm so broken there. I'm so broken there. There's no fixing me anymore. I've propped up a lot of people. I've served a lot of people. And I think the rest of this year, I'm just going to need to love myself and pray for those who have persecuted me, which is in the Bible, and do things in close up in my family that I can do and stay by myself otherwise. So I have a lot of good books to read, and I can get more and start my life over that way. I get bullied though, and I'm having to make a choice that I hate. I'm not going to hate the people, but God, how heartless people are in this day and age. I have no answers there. None. How heartless people are. It's hard to understand. It really is. So my Tiger Joy is a book that's kind of fallen apart, and I love it though. I've done artwork, and so I will be very careful with it. I want to share one thing from Moon Island that I took in the 31st of May 2024, because I am a moon goddess representation, and I'm marked as something. Only darkness, clay cold as a snake, sucking strength. When you caught us at length, we were madmen grown old. See, that's the grand old party. But my madness is gone, and I know where I've been. See, I had a demon of insanity talk through my 40s as a moon goddess. I know what I've seen, and I know when I'm done. That is from Moon Island. I'm done. not regret one bit of love I'm still expressing. I can show you things I'm doing right now to express love. And love remains. Love remains. And I want us to remember that. And the only way I can help myself remember it is to do what I'm doing. It is to do what I am doing. So I can keep doing it every day. And I hope for you gentle people, I hope for you that you are like me and can keep a hold of your core, okay? And have some things, if you can at all possibly do it, have some things away from screens. It probably terrifies some of you that I'm saying I'm going to. That I'm going to fast television. And I'm sorry that you're feeling that terror. I am very deeply sorry that you're feeling that terror, my loves. Legend from Tiger Joy by Stephen Vincent Benet. If there be saints, they are fast asleep, lounging in heaven in wraps of feather. Talk not so, or my eyes will weep till the ice tears rattle and clink together. Saints are many, on which shall I call? He must be kindly without constraint. I think you had better pray to St. Paul. I have heard people call him a neighborly saint. Down he flopped on his cold bare knees, breath that smoked in the bitter air. Crossing his body with hands afreeze, he sought St. Paul in a vehement prayer. Scarce had these shivers piped Scarce had these shiverers piped amen, cheeping like fledglings, crying for bread, when good St. Paul appeared to them then, with a wide gold halo around his head. He waved his episcopal hand and smiled, and the ground was spread like a banquet table. Here is much good food for each hungry child, and I hope you will eat as long as you're able. Here are good thick cloaks for your ragged backs, and strong warm boots for your feet, said he. And for Stephen, gloves and a little axe, and a little fur muff for Rosemary. They thanked him humbly, saying a pater, before they had touched a morsel even. But he said, your thanks are for one far greater, and pointed his right arm up at heaven. For you are the sparrows around God's door. He will lift you up like his own great banner. But the folk who made you suffer so sore, he shall deal with them in another manner. It is his own will to transport those folk to a region of infinite ice and snow. And his breath was a taper of incense smoke, and he lifted a finger, and it was so. And the folk were gone, and the saint was fled, and we stared and stared at the wintry land, and in front of us there was a banquet spread, and a little fur muff on Rosemary's hand. It is true that I have connected the dots to the wedding day of February 4th, 1989, in the frozen Southwest, not just Texas. To Rudolph Steiner yesterday. The article is already on his blog. And now you have it from Stephen Vincent Benet. The Ice of Hell. This is Beaty-Coffey of the Ministry of Uncover No More.